You saw Batman? Yes, this is something I've wanted to do since far before my debut. And that is, oh my goodness, so many people. Oh my goodness, hold on. Welcome on in, King, Fuyue, Helltaker Battle, Blancato, Elwin, Breb. Welcome on in, thank you for the gifts. Yes, this is a stream that I've wanted to do for quite some time now, since I have a lot to say on Batman films. Oh, thank you for the gift. Thank you, thank you. Nom, 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 nom. Oh, goodness. All of you here already? We just started. Okay, so let me know if the background music is, I guess, too ominous. I wasn't expecting it to be this ominous with the background music. We'll see. Maybe we want something a bit lighter. Depending on your favorite, you might be murdered like Bruce's parents. Yeah, so first of all, I see we've got Elwin here, who is a wonderful, wonderful restreamer, and so I'm gonna assume, yep, I am being restreamed. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to actually remember to link the restream. Oh my goodness. I scheduled a Twitter post today, and I was doing all kinds of stuff that makes me seem like an actual VTuber. It was wild. So let me... And I'll write being restreamed at... And there we are. So welcome on in, everybody. Today, we're just going to be rambling about Batman films. I am a very big Batman fan, which is weird. I'm not really a comics fan. I'm not really even much of a superhero fan. I'll watch superhero movies, and I'll enjoy them and I'll rate them, but I wouldn't really say that I'm the kind of person who theorizes about them or super anticipates. It's oh, I can't wait for Squirrel Girl to get a movie or whatever. But when it comes to Batman, it's completely different for some reason. I grew up being exposed to so much Batman media, I suppose. And so I love his lore. I love his rogues gallery. I just love the aesthetic of Gotham when done right. And so I just want to take a moment to talk about, we've got 8 films to talk about. I'm not talking about the Adam West one because I haven't seen it, which is very, very unfortunate in my opinion that I haven't seen it yet. But let's see, outside of that, that leaves the 4 from the Burton and Schumacher films. And then there's the Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan's films. And then finally, there's the Robert Pattinson one. Wasn't Adam West one's a TV show, not a movie? So there actually is a movie as well. So there's a TV show and a movie. And so I don't even remember the exact details. I just know that there's both. And I think a lot of the iconic moments of Adam West's Batman are from the movie. The shark repellent, I'm pretty sure, is from the movie. But yeah, so first and foremost, King, I already know you're going to disagree with me on this. My favorite Batman film is the Robert Pattinson one. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be right out the gate. That is my favorite one. It is the best one. I'm sorry. I don't care if you haven't seen the other ones, but Robert Pattinson's Batman is the best one in so many ways. You haven't seen it, so you can't fight you on this? That's understandable. Might I ask, what is your favorite Batman film? I'm curious. Okay, you only watched one Batman movie when it was in cinema? I mean, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I mean, if you just want to hear me rant, because I've got some rants. Mine, the third Nolan film, The Dark Knight Rises? King, you're telling me your favorite Batman film is The Dark Knight Rises? Okay. You know what? You're the victim of my rant then. How? It's garbage. The Dark Knight Rises is the only Batman film that I think is so bad that I cannot watch it. Like, I cannot sit through that movie. Last time I tried to watch it, I literally could not finish it without getting completely, like, bored out of my mind, clawing my eyes out. Thought they did Bane well. Tom Hardy was a good choice for Bane. There's a lot of changes to his lore, but it's like, that's fine. It doesn't have to be comic accurate or anything. But I just don't think he's particularly interesting. Same with Talia. Like, you remember the Restreamer? I did all of... Yeah, I did all of the stuff today. It was great. Actually like The Dark Knight more. Okay, yes, The Dark Knight is in contention for my favorite. Of course it is. It's The Dark Knight. That's like, it's such a cold take to say, oh, I like The Dark Knight. It's like, yeah, obviously. It's such a good movie, but it transcends being a good superhero movie. It becomes just simply it's not just a good superhero movie, it's a good movie. There's a reason why you'll see so many video essays talking about villains and about writing and about dialogue, and you'll see characters from Nolan's, The Dark Knight in the thumbnail. Like, Heath Ledger's Joker might as well be the poster child for video essays on YouTube about how to write a compelling villain. Under the Red Hood is my favorite. See, I haven't seen enough of the animated films to talk about it. Maybe I'll do this again. Ghostberry and Kitsua, welcome on in, welcome. Maybe I will do another, watching of some of the animated films, and I'll do another stream like this. Are you late? I mean, we just started a few minutes ago, you're good. But I know I need to watch The Long Halloween, The Killing Joke, Under the Red Hood. There's a lot of animated Batman films that I've yet to watch. And so I need to get around to watching all of those, which is why we are going to go ahead and leave this for specifically live action today. Besides Heath Ledger's Joker, which villain also left a mark? So I don't... I'd say honestly, maybe my other favorite villain from any Batman film would have to be Danny DeVito's Penguin from Batman Returns. Committee of Affairs, welcome on in, welcome. Yes, no, Danny DeVito as the Penguin, first of all, perfect casting. It's such good casting. You like Ben Affleck's? Oh, you know what? I didn't even think... So I mentioned, we're going to talk about 8 films. I didn't even remember Ben Affleck's Batman. That's how little I care for him. Okay. Danny DeVito still has a grudge on Batman. I mean, you know what? If I had to look like that in a movie and walk around in that suit that he had to wear and everything, have my fingers all messed up and mangly, I'd probably have a grudge against him too. Any thoughts on sexy Batman? Which one's sexy Batman? I think a lot of them are. I liked Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Arnold Schwarzenegger? Arnold, I'm sorry, but he is the worst part of that movie. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna have to start going down the line. This is going to be just incomprehensible ranting. I guarantee you, this entire stream of 2 hours is just going to be me, going off. Iceman. Dude, okay. You know what? We'll start there. Actually, because I watched Batman and Robin today in its entirety, because I hadn't seen it in a very long time. If I've ever even seen it, I don't know. I know that I'd seen Batman Forever, but I don't know if I'd ever actually seen Batman and Robin in full. So while I was doing work today, I watched it. And I have a lot of opinions on it, so we'll start with that first. George Clooney Batman was not all bad. I think that George Clooney had the potential to be a very good Batman, actually. Genuinely, I think that he's got the right demeanor. I think he's got the look down. there are some people who I feel like look like a good Batman, but aren't, like, they don't necessarily play the part well. And most of the time, that's actually because of writing. I think George Clooney, and I'm actually going to go ahead and throw Ben Affleck into this camp as well, both looked perfect. Like, I think they were phenomenal, like, aesthetically. And that includes their suits for the most part. Well, okay, except for, Clooney's bat nipples. But if you pretend that the nipples aren't there, his suit's great, actually. Like, I enjoy his suit quite a lot. And I think, like, as Bruce Wayne as well, he really sells it. I just wish his writing and dialogue were better. In fact, for Batman and Robin, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more a lot more than I thought I would, genuinely. But the big problems with it were its writing, its dialogue, which kind of go hand in hand, but writing is more than just dialogue, and Mr. Freeze. Basically everything else about that movie I thought was actually pretty good. Because the movie, it leans too much into being whimsical and campy. If it had just taken itself more seriously, I think it could have been phenomenal. Would have been my favorite of, like, that Batman verse. I don't know what you call it, the Burton verse, perhaps? George Clooney as Bruce Wayne didn't seem like a playboy. See, but Bruce Wayne doesn't necessarily have to be a playboy. We see that a lot, but I think Bruce Wayne is also really well done whenever we see more of his philanthropist side. And I like how he's kind of, funnily enough, despite being in the most lighthearted live-action film besides Adam West's, he actually felt like one of the darker takes on the character, because he, like, especially with, like, Val Kilmer and Batman Forever as well, they're supposed to be the same person technically. Like, that Batman is far more, like, tormented and views it as more of a curse, which I actually really like. In my opinion, I just hated Pamela. She sounded so... Okay. A problem in general with the Schumacher, and honestly all of the Burton-verse films, is that they really, really, like, objectify women and, like, sexualize basically every woman that's on the screen. Like, I don't really vibe with that. That said, it at least is more forgivable with Poison Ivy because she's doing that intentionally. She is not a combatant, she is a manipulator, right? Like, we don't even really see her fight using, like, plant stuff. Instead, it's all about, like, her actual, like, feminine wiles, right? I'll have to consider the year the film was made. Right. So it's like, I thought she was fine. Like, not great, but not awful. Bane, the problem with Bane, I will say, The Dark Knight Rises has a better version of Bane than Batman and Robin. Never watched anything serious that has Batman, but Lego Batman? I haven't seen the Lego Batman movie, actually. I did play the Lego Batman games. But yeah, Bane in Batman and Robin, okay. Bane, the thing that makes him so cool to me is that he's got both brain and brawn. Like, a lot of the interpretations of Bane typically do this very well. He is an excellent tactician. Like, he can compete with Batman both physically and mentally. And I think that is super awesome. But this movie does the sin of turning Bane into nothing more than a mindless brute. It's just brawn and all the later stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's typically seen as like a himbo, right? Even I'm thinking of like the Harley Quinn like animated show that was on HBO, where he's just like dumb. Like, no, Bane should be like viciously intelligent. Now, with Mr. Freeze, his problem, there were actually a lot of scenes that I thought were really good with him, especially near the end of the movie. The problem is that they're trying to lean into a more serious Mr. Freeze take, because Mr. Freeze, he's almost a tragic figure in like the Batman mythos, where he is a good man who has a good heart, trying to do a good thing, but has to go through evil things. Like, he has to do evil in order to accomplish that, because he's trying to, cure his wife of like her super rare disease. And in order to conduct his research properly, he needs certain funding and he needs certain resources, and he can't obtain those legally. It was just a dude trying to bring his wife back with nefarious purposes. Like, exactly. He's just in love and wants, ironically, he wants the warmth of a human, and perhaps that's why he's so cold, right? And this movie, it tried to lean into that, actually. There were times where they tried to make him a more serious character, but then the rest of the time, he's going for a really, really campy, unserious, like, comic relief character who's constantly just, like, saying, like, really bad puns, right? Or just, like, really... Basically, most of his lines, unless he was being serious, every other line was like a really bad one-liner, typically with some kind of ice pun. It's like, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! And then he like freezes a dinosaur statue and it goes and crumbles on Batman. It's like, really? Come on. Freeze had too much freeze jokes. Yeah, that's one of my biggest problems. And that goes more into the writing and dialogue. I don't think that Arnold was very good casting for Mr. Freeze. I think well cast, actually. Like, I like who they got for Poison Ivy. Batgirl, they introduced her in that movie. I think that's really good. I love Chris O'Donnell as Robin. That might be a hotter take, I don't know. But I would, like, if they ever do a live-action Robin again, I would want it to go in that style of direction. I think Chris O'Donnell, I don't know. If you look at the comics, you're like, ooh, how would they adapt that? Like the boy wonder over here in red spandex, and it's like, gee willikers, Batman! It's like, how do you do that? That's a little rough. But, like, Chris O'Donnell, I think he did a really good job. And, like, he's honestly the best written character in both of the movies he's in. Like, he's actually a joy on screen. There's constant character development going on with him. And that's the thing. These movies, they are trying to tell an actual story. It's about the characters. And that's something that I need to realize. Like, I needed to realize while watching them. Because if you look at them as plot-based movies, they really, really suck. Like, they're really bad. But if you look at them as character-based movies, and that's what the story is actually about, they actually are rather serviceable. But it's still not great. We need to fix something. Batman and Robin's not a Burton era. Okay, so I'm calling it Burtonverse because it's, from between Batman 1989 to Batman and Robin, that's supposed to be the same, like, timeline. And I don't know what else to call it other than the Burtonverse. I'm aware that the first two are Burton and the second two are Schumacher. But because they're all technically the same world, I'm like talking about them as one verse. Even though, there are times where it doesn't really feel like it's the same world because they keep changing actors. But like, between... Because you could make an argument, it's like, oh, maybe, the Burtonverse, maybe they're different. But, like, even in the third movie, in Batman Forever, they, like, directly reference events that happen in Batman Returns. And so it's like, yeah, they're part of the same world. It was advertised as part of the same world. Like, Gotham looks the same and everything. And actually, on that, this is probably another hot take. I think those movies, the Burtonverse, has the best Gotham out of any live action interpretation. Because I don't know, there's just something that feels just so iconic about like this real gothic like city, but with all like the vibrant neon colors lighting up the night and like the spotlight shooting in the sky from the streets with like the large, like the bunch of random large statues and everything. It's like the city is like kind of nonsensical in its actual architecture, but like it's aesthetically so right. They kind of went more in that direction with the Pattinson film, but honestly not enough. Like, you know, that movie, I have a lot to say on that movie. I will definitely get on it later. But I just don't think it's Gotham compares. And that is actually, I think, my biggest problem with the Nolan films. Is that Gotham just feels like, you know, modern metropolitan concrete jungle, you know? It's just a city. It's just New York, right? It doesn't feel like an actual like city with its own identity and culture. It just feels like average American, you know, skyscraper city. Like, it's funny, even whenever I'm thinking about the Nolan films, whenever I think of Gotham, I don't even think of it at night. Like, I think of Gotham in the Nolan films, you know, middle of the day. I'm thinking like throughout The Dark Knight Rises or during like, you know, the bank robbery at the beginning of The Dark Knight. Whenever I think of Christian Bale's Batman at night, I'm thinking of the scene whenever he goes to Hong Kong in The Dark Knight. It's like, why is it that the most iconic nighttime shots in your Batman film, with Batman standing on cities or like standing on buildings overlooking a city, isn't even in Gotham? What? Like, come on. Even then, I feel like a lot of people don't even realize fully that he goes to Hong Kong. Yes, they talk about it in the movie, but the city looks the exact same anyways. It's like, what the heck? But the Burtonverse, their Gotham, it's like so like dark but vibrant at the same time. It's a really, really nice and unique blend. And I think the second best interpretation of it actually, of Gotham in anything that I've seen, would actually have to be the Arkham games. I think that they did a pretty good job with Arkham as well. It's still not as good, but like, it still feels right. It still has like the dark vibrancy. You need to watch the Nolan films. Yeah, honestly, I watched them at like the start of this year, but I could always stand to watch them some more. They're just so good. Well, the first two are so good. No, actually, I want to just start going down the line and talk about each of these films, though. So let's start with talking about Batman 1989, the first of the Burton films. You know, Michael Keaton Batman, Jack Nicholson Joker, and I'm gonna be real. Yeah, you say the legendary Michael Keaton. This is going to be my hottest take of the entire day, I think. I hate Michael Keaton Batman. I do not think he was well cast. I did not like it at all. What exactly? Exactly, I know. I still don't think he's my second least favorite live action Batman. But crap, nice knowing you. Look, I look at Michael Keaton Batman, and he's just I need examples of why you don't like it. He's just a horny maniac in latex. That's what he is. Like, whenever people talk about, like, Batman has a hero complex and deserves to be in Arkham Asylum, I don't see that with any other, like, live action interpretation, but Michael Keaton, like, not only does he not have the no-kill rule, he seems to, like, revel in killing and, like, kills people in, like, really creative ways. So, like, that's one of the core, aspects of Batman's identity, but also he's just like constantly flirting with every like female that breathes. Like, that's something I like about the later Burtonverse films, is the fact that like he's very hesitant to get romantically involved. Now, I hate the fact that he has a different love interest in literally every single one of those films. I cannot stand that. To be fair, an encounter with any Batman would end with broken ribs at least. Yeah, like, that's fine. But, like, still, the no-kill rule is such an iconic part of his character that makes him so compelling and interesting to me that to have a Batman that just, like, does his stupid, like, large grin whenever he's, like, murdering people, and, like, he seems tormented, like, in the same way that a lot of Batmen are, but he's, like, I don't know, he just comes across as somebody who actually needs a therapist. Like, he needs to be in, like, he needs help. He needs someone to fix him, but he doesn't want to be fixed, it feels like. You would not like the Batman who laughs, but that's very intentional, is the thing. Like, I don't think it was intentional, like an intentional decision with Michael Keaton Batman. I think it's just the way he was written and the way that he was, like, actually portrayed by the actor. It was just a slight misunderstanding of what made Batman Batman. It was a Burton thing. Yeah, honestly, like, I don't think that he was made to write Batman. I think, I don't even know how to put it besides that. I cannot stand Michael Keaton Batman. And in fact, another hot take. This is definitely going to be a hot take. I think out of the 4 Burton, actually, out of any live action Batman film that serves as a mainly Batman film, so this isn't including the, like, DCEU films, I think 1989 Batman is my least favorite Batman film. Only because it just feels so boring. Like, the other ones are at least, like, fun, even if they're bad. This one, it's just, like, it's mediocre to me. And so it just kind of comes across as, like, meh. I'd rather be watching something else. How Tim Burton got the rights to DC heroes far beyond me. I mean, I definitely understand why they picked him, and I will say, like, he's the one who set the precedent for the vibe of Gotham in those films. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was trash compared to the OG Willy Wonka. You know, I actually haven't seen the original Willy Wonka. I haven't. I really, really need to watch it. Yeah, Gene Wilder. I mean, obviously I've seen, like, memes and I've seen clips from that film, but I actually haven't seen it in its entirety. I really need to watch it. That said, even though I haven't seen the original, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is still a trash movie. Like, my goodness. But yeah, so 1989 Batman, it's just a slog. Jack Nicholson Joker, we can talk about that next time, but Burton films are always his take on classics. Ruben Albino, Albino, why'd I say Albino? What the heck? Albino, welcome on in. So, yeah, Jack Nicholson Joker is, like, it's a unique take on the character, I will say. I think I just don't really like the mob boss Joker. Whenever he was, like, full on just Joker chaos, like, some of those scenes, he was pretty good. But with, like, his origin and everything, basically, if we're talking about, like, Jack Napier and, like, giving him the full origin story and everything, meh. Like, I like Joker as a force of chaos, right? Nixon trashed Ledger's Joker, saying his take was Joker. That, it's very ironic, considering Heath Ledger then set the precedent for Jokers in the future. But, like, I can understand why you would say that. But it's like, or like why Nicholson would say that, because it was definitely different. But there's like wildly different takes on the Joker, and I'm just not a fan of the style of Joker they went with for Nicholson. There's also the aspect that for a lot of actors, or like rather, I like to get immersed in movies, and if I recognize an actor as something else, then like if they're too big of an actor, I won't be able to separate them like from the character they're playing. And so I'll like just enjoy the performance less because I'm not immersed. And that's usually not a problem with these films. But specifically with like Jack Nicholson Joker, I felt like it was just Jack Nicholson, right? It's like he felt very typecast because Trix, welcome on in, welcome. Like Nicholson, he was known for playing like the crazy, wacky, like insane characters. And so I just feel like he was like shoehorned in. See, I heard actually that that Robin Williams was trying to get the role of Joker in '89 Batman. And that's something I would have liked to see. Would I've had the same problem of just seeing Robin Williams? Perhaps, but I think that he would have treated the character in such a way that I'd be able to more easily separate the character from the actor. That would have been interesting. Yeah, I agree. Like, I really would have enjoyed seeing what that looked like. Williams is a method actor? Exactly. Finally, the Osian rant I've been waiting for. Yeah, I'm talking about how much I dislike 1989 Batman. The first one with Michael Keaton, like Batman, and Jack Nicholson Joker. Like, plus, it's weird. I feel like nothing happens in that film. Like, I feel like that one is so weird and bad. It's like, it's not even like that bad to me. It's just boring. Like, I feel like it's just a whole lot of nothing. It's just like you see the scene, you see the thing happen, and like the Batman is horny and a maniac, and like that's the whole movie. And then oh, look at that, Joker's dead. Now, that said, good things about the movie. As I mentioned, the aesthetic of Gotham peak. So good. They set such a good precedent. And then, also, I will say, the soundtrack is iconic. Oh my goodness. Danny Elfman writing a Batman score is so good. Like, whenever I think of Batman, I'm still thinking of the Danny Elfman soundtrack. Like, And so it's like, whenever it comes to like, oh, and even like the Batmobile peak, like, and some of the castings for like extras. I know Harvey Dent was cast. Is the same person who did Lando in Star Wars. I don't remember his name like off the top of my head. I thought that was good casting. I would have liked to see what his Harvey Dent would have looked like before they literally changed his race in Batman Forever. It's like, what? But then, also, I want to commend the casting for Alfred. Like, I actually think that Alfred in the Burtonverse is probably my favorite. Like, Michael Caine and Andy Serkis are great, don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't know, there's just something... I don't know the actor's name, but I don't know, he just felt the most Alfred to me. Like, he nailed that role. Alfred they chose back then was solid. Yeah, I agree. Like, probably my favorite live-action interpretation of Alfred is in those films. So yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's, why don't we actually rank them? Why not? So I would say, out of the 8 films that I want to talk about today, Batman 1989 would probably have to get... The actor's name is Michael... Oh, goodness. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm going to be with you. I would honestly rate it like, I don't know, a 3 out of 10. Like, it's just Go. Gotcha. Michael Go. So it's got like good elements. It's got good soundtrack, good aesthetic. But it's just a bore. No, like, you know, the protagonist, antagonist, honestly, very iffy casting. Let's talk about Batman Returns. This movie, on the other hand, I really, really like. I love Batman Returns. I think that Michael Keaton was better here. He's still a horny maniac, but he's just like marginally better. Like, I can see him more as a Bruce Wayne here. But then Danny DeVito, Penguin, is probably my second favorite villain in any Batman film, besides Heath Ledger's Joker, of course. And Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is so good. Gotta get some work done. Have a great rant session. Sounds good. I will be sure to have a great rant. You know I love doing it. No, Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, is also really, really good. I love how... Like, I love how they didn't, like, shy away from just the absolutely ridiculous stuff while still having, like, a dark aesthetic. Like, freaking the Penguin literally, like, straps bombs to penguins and they start marching out of the, like, you know, Gotham Zoo. And Catwoman, she, like, just falls out of, like, a building and, you know, she's pushed out of a building and then, you know, there's a bunch of cats that, like, lick her and now, oh, she's got 9 lives. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's not realistic. You'll notice that I do tend to enjoy the more realistic and grounded takes on a lot of stuff, but, like, that's not a necessity for me. As long as, like, it takes itself seriously, and it does, you know? It does take itself seriously, while also having fun, being whimsical, but also, like, I don't know, just so dark at the same time. I think this is the vibe that was perfect, like, for a Tim Burton film. Like, Tim Burton knew what he was doing his second time around. Oh, and who was it who was playing, I don't remember the character. Let me look up all the characters, but, like, there's the businessman. Batman Returns cast. Who is it? Christopher Walken as, what was his character's name? He was, like, playing a... Oh, why can I not remember the name of his character? Max Schreck. That's who it is. Yes, Max Schreck. You've got it, King. No, I thought that Christopher Walken was a great addition to the film. He's, like, not a primary antagonist, but, like, you know, his presence is still felt through the entire film, and he's very much a catalyst. I loved seeing the Penguin's origin. I love seeing Catwoman's origin, because unlike, you know, Jack Nicholson Joker, where I don't think they did the villain very well, I think that the villains in this movie make the movie. Like, seeing their origin, seeing who they are, like, where they come from, and then just seeing them on screen be fun. Seeing their dynamic, their interactions, it's really, really great. Like, and the plot has so many different moving parts, like, introducing more characters, because that's another thing with 89. There's really only 2, like, main characters, or, like, 2 people in the cast. There's Batman and Joker, and that's it. I think that's part of why I feel like nothing happens. But in this, we've got so many moving parts in the plot now. Like, it's far, far better. We still got the amazing soundtrack and the aesthetic of Gotham. Like, phenomenal movie. If I were to rate that, that'd be like a solid, like, 8 out of 10. Like, a very solid 8 out of 10. It's so good. Like, I would rate that if I were doing, like, a tier list, that'd be, like, an A. And it's really still brought down only by, like, Michael Keaton Batman, and honestly just being a product of its time. Like, there are times where you can tell, you know, it was made in, I think, what, 91 or 92? like around then. But excluding those small little things, phenomenal film. And that brings me to Batman Forever. Oh, Batman Forever is a movie that exists. I will say, it suffers a lot of the same problems as Batman and Robin, and that's just the fact that they don't they didn't cast a lot of the characters very well. And to be fair, there are a lot of 90s movies that look like they could have been made a week ago. That's true. That is very, very much true. Unfortunately, this is not one of them. But yeah, so... Oh, I completely lost my train of thought. Okay, casting. Casting in Batman Forever is, for the most part, atrocious for the main characters. I'm gonna be real. Jim Carrey, great actor. Love him in a lot of stuff. Whenever it's a proper Jim Carrey film, you know? It's like Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. It's like those are movies that work with Jim Carrey because you're going there, you're expecting his brand. Or even, like, I've been enjoying him as, like, Robotnik in the Sonic films. Cool. That's fine. He does not work as Edward Nygma. Like, oh. He's just the facial expressions, the presentation, the delivery. Like, they don't understand what makes a good Riddler. It felt like both villains in this film, they, like the higher ups, I know there were all kinds of disputes between Burton and then, like the, Warner Brothers. They were like, we want you to make this kind of Batman film. We want you to make, oh, that's right, I remember the story now. It's because the Burton films, they were much, much darker, right? And yet, Batman was still seen as like a kid thing. Like comics were a kid thing. And so, and the movie was being advertised to children, but then families were going in and seeing how dark the films were, and they were getting a lot of complaints. So that's actually why, after Batman Returns, Warner Brothers was like, hey, you gotta make this far more family friendly. Like, that wasn't okay. And so that's why there were a lot of disputes between Burton and Warner Brothers and why he ended up leaving. And so that's why we have the horrendous change between, like, the vibe of Batman Returns and Batman Forever, which is just silly. Like, something can be, like, whimsical without being silly. I know that's, like, kind of a strange distinction, but if you've seen the movies, you know exactly what I mean. And it was definitely far more for children. Like, And so, this is also where we started getting the problem of, like, the dialogue being far weaker, where they started just having a lot of, like, jokes and one-liners a lot of the time. Batman's first line in Batman Forever, like, Alfred is like, oh, do you want me to pack a sandwich for you, sir? And Batman just goes, I'll get drive-through. It's like, that's how you're gonna start your Batman film? I'll get drive-through? Are you... Shut up. Too much executive pandering? Absolutely. Like, they completely misunderstood why those movies were so popular and, like, the aesthetic that they had captured and ruined it. And that's also why I think that the two villains in Batman Forever, I think the executives said, we want you to make more villains like the Joker. And so they took iconic Batman villains and said, what if they were the Joker instead? And that's how you get this over-the-top, maniacal, chaotic Riddler and Harvey Dent, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, which, funnily enough, I think that Tommy Lee Jones could have been phenomenal casting. Oh, Deed, welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. Right now we're talking about Batman Forever, the third of the Burtonverse Batman films. And I think Tommy Lee Jones could have been like inspired casting for Harvey Dent. That could have been great. Now, do I still wish that I could have seen the actor of Lando ready to learn about Batman? I've already had a lot of hot takes, so who knows? Maybe, maybe this isn't the right place. I think I might be a bit controversial here, but I mean, wait until I get to the Dark Knight. Then I'm gonna just have the coldest takes ever. But so yes, Tommy Lee Jones, if they'd gone for a more serious take on Two-Face, I think could have been phenomenal. Like, I think that Harvey Dent is best whenever he is a sort of tragic character, similar to what I mentioned Mr. Freeze is like in the Batman mythos. You know, Harvey Dent, and biggest praise to the Dark Knight, which understood this. Like, oh, the Dark Knight completely understood Two-Face and Harvey Dent. It's so great. Mr. Peanuts, welcome on in, welcome, welcome. He's a tragic character, but also a very fortunate one. I guess luck does always goes in his favor. Aaron Eckhart, yeah, dude, such good casting for Harvey Dent. He's the damn mayor, in some interpretations. You know, he's district attorney turned mob boss after an unfortunate event. You know. Wow, I can't believe we've got, an ex-president here in chat. Welcome on in, Mr. Trump. A dang acid? Yeah, like, you know, the acid origin story of being splashed in the face and, like, that whole thing, right? It's... Seeing him fall from grace is really, really great in a lot of interpretations. I actually want to commend the Telltale Batman game for a moment. I think that their Harvey Dent is really, really good, actually. In fact, the Telltale games in general, I really enjoyed those. And seeing that fall from grace with Harvey, beautiful. Like, seeing his tormented mind, seeing his reality become twisted, like the second identity form in his brain, it's like, oh, so good, so good. Is it as good as The Dark Knight? No. I don't think any Two-Face interpretation will ever be as good as The Dark Knight's. I'll say I hated the gameplay infinitely more than the story. Yeah, I mean, it's a Telltale game. It's not really there for the gameplay. Faye, welcome on in, welcome, welcome. So, that said, if Tommy Lee Jones had taken his Two-Face in the direction of a more serious and tragic, tell that to The Wolf Among Us. Okay, you know what? Fair. I love that game. The Wolf Among Us is so good. It's so good. Oh, what is that name? Toffee Chino? I want to say it's pronounced. Welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. But yes, so, also, just gotta say, whenever I played The Wolf Among Us, way back when it first came out, had such a big crush on Snow White in that game. Oh my goodness. Wasn't Harvey Dent kind of politician even as a villain? I mean, aren't all politicians villains? Anyways. I'm seeing The Dark Knight in theater with my old man as a teenager when it came out. I think I'll never forget that. Yeah, dude, The Dark Knight's so good. We'll get there. We will definitely get to The Dark Knight in a bit here. So, do you want another pregnant drawing? Go for it. Like his wording in the series, I think it'll say he'll be fair. Yeah, you know what? Because it just really depends on the take. Because Tommy Lee Jones, he went with like crazy maniac. It was like, he doesn't even have like bipolar disorder, like some interpretations of Two-Face. No, he's just like, he's more like Venom, I realized when watching the film. It's like, we are Two-Face. There's me. And it's like, and that's his bit the entire movie, of like that sense of like duality on every single thing. It's just so overplayed and campy and like, No, treat him seriously. You picked a phenomenal actor, and you could have done that. I think they were trying to do a Jekyll and Hyde thing. Actually, Jekyll and Hyde in the original story, like, it is the same person. It's not even like a duality like thing. It's Jekyll is, they're the same person, and it's just a mask that he puts on to like do the bad things that he wants to do anyway. So he's still in his right mind. That's actually a bit of a misconception, unless that's what you're saying they were trying to do. But like, I think they were trying to do, I don't even know. It's just, Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face is awful. Honestly, I don't know which villain I hate more in Batman Forever. I think Batman Forever is still more fun than Batman 89, just because it's like fun because it's ironically good, or like ironically fun rather. The classic idea. Gotcha. No, it's like the movie can still be fun because it's not boring, because stuff is happening, and I will say, Val Kilmer does not look like Bruce Wayne. Was that with Nicholson? Yes, I do not like that film at all. I think it is incredibly boring. That's one of my least favorite Batman films. If not my absolute least favorite out of all of them. It might honestly be, actually. No, I think I still... I don't know. It's there with The Dark Knight Rises for me. Like, they're both just, like, so boring. But... Lily, welcome on in, sporting the old profile picture I see. Yeah, I recognize you again. It's like seeing an old friend. So, Val Kilmer, I don't think he looks like a Bruce Wayne, and he looks very, very different from Michael Keaton. It's like, why did he age down like 2 decades? And when's the Batman movie tier list? I'm basically making it right now. You know what? I'll post my opinions after the stream, and we'll see how people react. So, yes, Val Kilmer. It's like, I like his performance. I just don't like. It's like I don't like him as an actor. I just don't like his acting style. But he's still putting in a lot of effort, and I like his character arc. So it's like I still like him more than Michael Keaton. But he's still just not very Batman or Bruce Wayne to me. Nate goes, welcome back, welcome. Your streamer said that my old one says Lily and the other one doesn't, so I changed it. Gotcha. I mean, I think that you can just make, rebrand yourself if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I'm gonna have a little bit of water real quick. I'm getting rather parched during my rants here. So, Val Kilmer was good. I liked how he was like exploring his own, like himself and his own motivation. Out of the Burtonverse films, this is the one where Bruce Wayne is at his strongest. Sir Shields. Oh, what about Taryn? Finished making the udon? I don't know anything about that. What? I suppose he was making udon. Oh, you're asking if Nate. Oh, I see. CVG. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. That word's really, really fun to say. What's up? Hello. Talking to Nate? Yeah, I figured that out. Yeah, I was like, oh, no, you're not talking to me. Dude, Taryn made udon and he didn't give me any? Goodness. Can't believe that. Be right back in 5 minutes. Sure thing. Take your time. So... yeah, Val Kilmer... probably the best Bruce Wayne between Michael Keaton, George Clooney, and, Bruce Wayne out of those 3. Not my favorite, but the best one, if that makes sense. You like Val Kilmer as an actor? I just don't think I've seen him in enough stuff, Like, I think I've only seen him in, one other movie, and I don't even remember what it was. I just remember seeing the name on there, and then, I don't even know. I don't think I've seen Top Gun, actually. It's something. I'm actually not much of a movie person for the most part. Never thought hearing someone rant about a series of movies I've never watched would be this entertaining. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I don't know what else I've seen in Val Kilmer or what else I've seen him in. I just remember watching a movie and seeing his name and being like, oh, that's the guy from Batman Forever. Stars have seen the Batman films. I mean, not everybody has. It's not like, 8 billion people have seen it, so of course not everybody's seen it. But, like, Batman Forever, if the villains were better, it'd honestly be good. I will say, this is the movie that introduced Chris O'Donnell's Robin. I love Chris O'Donnell as Robin. I thought it was phenomenal seeing the origin with the Flying Graysons and like seeing the dynamic, and I like the fact that they're like between Batman and Robin, their dynamic isn't fully fleshed out until the end of the next movie. They don't rush it. They take their time with it, which is like I actually really enjoy that. Like they make steps here and there's character growth, but the story isn't over yet. Like peak. That's so good. And like it felt like a very natural like extension. And so Chris O'Donnell's Robin, just chef's kiss, peak, so good, best part of the movie, like genuinely. Man would become Oliver Queen. Wait, was Chris O'Donnell Oliver Queen? Wait, hold on. He's Arrow? Why did I never realize that? Wait, what? Why did I never realize that? That makes so much sense, though. Oh. Wait. How did I never put that together? I mean, he does look much different. Like, he looks very, very different to me. I didn't realize that ever. I feel very silly right now. Look, the ninth greatest detective isn't perfect, right? That's why I'm only the ninth greatest. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm like blown away at this revelation. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so... Wait. I'm gonna put something up. No. Chris O'Donnell is in it. Wait. No wonder. I was like, no, it's not the same person. What do you... It switches who it is? I was about to say, because I actually haven't seen all of Arrow. No, it's Stephen Amell is Arrow. Did they switch it to Chris O'Donnell at some point? Like during... Yeah, like... No, you guys just gaslit me so hard. Because, like, I see the similarities, but, like, they're not the... Like, I was like, wait, but, like, no, they really don't look different or, like, look identical. So I looked it up. You guys just gaslit me. What in the world? Dude... What do y'all, man? Y'all gaslit me so hard right now. No, no wonder I was thinking. I was like, how did I never realize that? You know, I'm happy now though. I'm content. All right. So, anyway, yeah, Chris O'Donnell, he's great. What else do I have to say about Batman Forever? Soundtrack was still good. You'll take that book. I do still think that the soundtrack and, you know, the aesthetic of Gotham and everything still peak. Just, and the writing isn't as bad as Batman and Robin. Like the writing is definitely better, and the characters have far more like organic character arcs. Oh, I do have something to say though. Even if it's not really a plot-driven movie, it's a character-driven movie, that did not give them the right to completely disregard a sensical plot. But they absolutely do that. I started watching the movie and I was like, why does it feel like I've been dropped into the middle of the movie without any context? The movie starts with, you know, Batman like going up against Two-Face, and but like they already have like years of history together, and it's like a trap, and it's like revenge, and we're learning so much. Movies typically have like a starting like catalyst event, right? They'll have like some big thing at the beginning which serves to like progress the story, or like it's the initiation, right? But like this movie, it didn't come across as that. It just came across as something else that was happening in the plot. Everything that came after it would have happened regardless. And so it just felt like we were wasting time and just like trying to have like cool moments, right? That's something that I definitely feel is prevalent in the Schumacher films, is that they kept trying to just have cool scenes without earning them. Not cool scenes, get it? Yeah, you know what? I'm as bad as Schumacher now with these puns. So it's the pacing is just so bad. Have you seen the Gotham series? I actually haven't. I've been meaning to watch it. It's just like I've heard mixed things about it. I like the fact that it's like a Commissioner Gordon-led series, right? I've only really seen stuff about it in like video essays regarding Batman and like the different interpretations of certain characters. And it's like, I honestly don't know if I'm even that interested. It's like, I want to watch it, but exclusively because it is Batman media, not because I'm actually interested in it, you know? And it's like, do I even want to spend my time watching however many seasons? Not too bad, just kind of meh after a while. It's like, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be for me. So yeah, the pacing in Batman Forever is it's so bad. Like especially once Riddler and Two-Face start working together, the pacing goes off the rails for a while. A lot of Batman TV shows like Pennyworth and Penguin, I had heard that they made those shows. I don't know anything about them, actually. Maybe I need to like look into them. Loved the introduction of Teen Joker. And that's in Gotham with Cameron Monaghan you're talking about? Yeah? Yeah. I mean, like, I've heard good things about his performance. It's just like, I wish that he was given the proper chance, you know? It's like, because they had to, like, tiptoe around the fact that it was the Joker, it got really convoluted and absurd, honestly, with, like, the kinds of things that they had to do in order to say, oh, it's not the Joker because of licensing reasons. It's like, I feel like it would have benefited so much if he was just allowed to be the Joker. And so, that said, Batman Forever, how would I rate it? I think I would go... Honestly, I don't know. Because the thing is, I'm going to move Batman 89 to... No, I think I'll keep it at a 3 out of 10. I'm going to put Batman Forever also at a 3 out of 10. Yeah, hold on. Maybe I'll find a Batman movie tier list right now. Cool. So this has S, A, B, C, D, F. I would put Batman Returns. Where's that? Definitely A tier. Batman 89 is like D tier, and I'm gonna put Batman Forever in D tier as well. Woo, tier list. Well, I'm actually on tiermaker.com, I'll have you know, not tierlist.com. So yeah, I'm going to put both of those in D tier. Now, Batman and Robin, I'm actually going to put this one in C tier. I think that Batman and Robin is a better movie than Batman Forever or Batman 89. George Clooney, I think, rocks the Batman look. I think, especially as Bruce Wayne, him in the suit, and he's like the philanthropist Bruce Wayne, he is the one that I buy as Bruce Wayne the most. And honestly, he's one of my favorite live action interpretations of Bruce Wayne, like for sure. He's a bit more of an interesting character. I like the fact that it's still a character-driven story, but it's about the relationship between, fittingly, because of the name of the movie, Batman and Robin. They are what drive the movie, and I like how Clooney and O'Donnell play off of one another. I think they've got pretty good chemistry on screen. And genuinely, when the movie is trying to take itself seriously and not lean too much into just being over-the-top campy, I think it's kind of good. Like, I really enjoyed it at times. The problem is that just far too often, the dialogue is just abysmal. Or, like, whenever they're, like, auctioning to, like, bang Poison Ivy, they're like, 5 million. Like, Bruce Wayne's like, I'll pay 5 million. And he, like, pulls out, like, the Bat credit card and it's like, never leave the Batcave without it. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, come on. Are you serious right now? Like everybody's just... Okay. It's like they were trying to have a bunch of, like, marketable one-liners that could go on TV shirts. That's the best way I can describe how that movie is written. It's like they're trying to just constantly have the next iconic quote that everybody's quoting years after the movie. I saw that scene in my head while you were describing it. Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. I like the fact that in that movie, Batman actually has to use his brain a lot and, like, solve things. Like, the villains themselves aren't particularly threatening, like, physically at all. And a lot of the issues are solved through, like intelligence and things don't always go right and they have to adapt on the fly. So I think it goes more into, like, the tactical side of Batman, which is nice. That said, back on Batman Forever, I do think that they handled the Riddler's, like, riddles well. Like, I thought that was very good, and how, like, the riddle is building up throughout the entire film. I thought that was very good. And in Batman and Robin, there's a lot of scenes where he has to, like, use his cognitive abilities over his physical abilities. It's not just punch the guy like in Batman 89. Genuinely, if Arnold wasn't, if Mr. Freeze had different casting and was just treated more seriously, and if the movie just took itself more seriously, it unironically be maybe in contention to be my favorite Batman film. And I know that is big talk. Dawn, welcome back. Welcome, welcome. So it's like, there's just, like, I wish I could love that movie, because there's so many things that I do love about it. Speaking of which, Batgirl, I think that Batgirl was pretty good. Just got off work 40 minutes after. Ugh, rough. That sounds awful. No, so I thought Batgirl, she was fine. You know, I liked her dynamic with Alfred. I thought it was strange how they made her related to Alfred instead of, like, Commissioner Gordon, but, like, it's whatever, it's fine. But it's like, basically everybody in the main cast, except for Mr. Freeze, I thought was pretty well cast. I just wish that Bane was treated as more of a villain instead of a punching bag, and I wish that the writing was just better. But, like, the aesthetic of Gotham is honestly, I think, at its peak in this movie. It's still got the large, like, Bane was also a balloon. Yeah, like, literally he gets deflated at the end of the movie whenever they just, like, remove him from, like, his drugs. And so it's like, it's so, like, so close to being such a good movie in so many aspects. What was another thing I wanted to say? Just about the Burtonverse films in general. I had something on my mind, but I can't remember it. If I end up remembering it, I'll be sure to say. But now, let's talk about the Nolan films. So, you know, after the flop that was Batman and Robin, then we waited some time before Christopher Nolan got his hands on the IP and released Batman Begins. And this is a stark, like, change in terms of atmosphere, in terms of what the Batman character is. Because beforehand, it leaned into the idea of superheroes being, like, really campy, over the top, and, like, you know, unrealistic. And it's like, that's not always a bad thing. It just has to be done right. Like, in Batman Returns, it's done right. But, like, in Batman and Robin, it's done poorly. Like, actually, you know what? If Tim Burton had directed Batman and Robin the way he directed Batman Returns, so, like, if he was brought on to direct instead of Schumacher, I think that movie honestly could have been, like, S tier for me. But instead, I'm putting that in C. Batman Begins, I'm gonna put this in... Oh, I don't know, actually. I'm thinking B tier. Because Batman Begins is a pretty solid film. Like, it's good. You can follow B? Yeah. Like, I enjoy it. Christian Bale Batman. We get him here. Very, very good casting for Batman. I think... he's not my favorite portrayal of Batman as a character, but he might be my favorite Bruce Wayne. Does he look the part the most? I don't think so. I still think that Ben Affleck and George Clooney still, like, look more like how I imagine Bruce Wayne would look. But Bale, his actual performance of the character and the way that he plays Bruce Wayne as the playboy philanthropist, and it's like, he is probably the only live-action Batman who you wouldn't think is Batman. Like, you buy the fact that people aren't putting it together. So, it's like, it's just... prefer Nolan's Gordon better and Bale. Oh, yeah, no. Nolan's Commissioner Gordon, Jim Gordon, is peak. There will never be an actor who is Jim Gordon to me besides him, or, like, is as good of a Commissioner Gordon. And, like, seeing them two like work together. And then something that I really, really admire about the Nolan films is that like the cast is like expansive, and we like do see like a large amount of villains and like throughout the films, but it doesn't feel like it's overbearing. It's like, you know, we got Raish Al Ghul. I think they call him Raz in that movie though, and that infuriates me. Oh, call him Raish. That's his name. But like Raish Al Ghul as you know, Liam Neeson.